Good morning from day 44 on the Appalachian Trail. We are, can you guess where we are? Probably not, but possibly. Got some crazy clouds. We got some hills. But we are in the Grayson Highlands. So we drove up here this morning, walked up the approach from Massey Gap, and we're back on the white blazed AT. It is windy as all get out, but we're hoping we can see some ponies, get a few more miles in on the AT, and enjoy a little bit different scenery. I'll take pictures as we get better views, and try not to step in any horsey poop, because there's been a lot of it so far. So far, pretty interesting place. We came through the state park entrance and parked at the day parking lot at Massey Gap, and it does look like, as far as the legend goes on their map, that the Appalachian is the hardest trail they have in this park. Imagine that. Horsey poop. Lots of horsey poop. So hopefully we'll get to see some horses today. No, we're not. Okay, this is the first corral that we've come across, so I wanted to video me going through. So we're still in the park, and they have these little gates basically so that the horsies don't go where they're not supposed to go.
I go where I want.
Mr. Harvard over here found the hoodie dangling from a tree and decided that he was going to take it, and we can turn it back into the office when we get back to the parking lot.
No, I'm being attacked.
You're being attacked?
I mean, Mr. Harvard.
Well, I'm sorry, would you prefer Stanford? Brown? Yale?
Yale's not bad. I'll take some Yale.
Okay, he took Yale. Anyway. The trail, no ponies. The trail, started going through the woods and got real rocky, as you can see from this path. So, we didn't get to see the ponies. But we're going to go to the Wise Shelter. And that's kind of the border of the park. The Wise Shelter is the only place you can sleep in the park. And you have to sleep in the shelter. There's no camping allowed in the park on any of the trails. You can get a backpacking permit to leave your car here for, I can't remember how many days it said, 7 or 10 days. So if you wanted to backpack out of Grayson Highlands State Park, you could. You just can't tent in the park. And we have, like, I don't know, 0.8-ish maybe, about a mile to the shelter. And that'll give us about 2 miles on the AT, walking through the park. And then we'll road walk back to the car. From here, don't know where we're going. Probably north towards Shenandoah. Gonna do a little bit of research when we get service, because we don't have any service right now, and see where we want to go, and where there's a nice trailhead like we had last night that maybe has a trash and a vault toilet. That would be wonderful. So we can car camp again. And if not, we can always find a trailhead and walk in a little bit, because most of the time off trails on the AT, there's a campsite within the next quarter mile if we have to tent. But it's so much nicer to wake up and have an actual toilet seat to sit on. So, yay for that highlight. Right, I'll show you guys the shelter when we get there. So we made it to the Wise Shelter inside Grayson Highlands State Park on the AT. And we stopped to use the privy. We haven't really seen the shelter yet. But Reptile caught himself a reptile. Oh, there's the shelter. Around the curve. So it was just a kind of some sort of garter snake. I'm not entirely sure what type, but non-venomous. So it was pretty calm, and it just sat in his hand for a minute, and then he let it go. Here's one of the shelters. This is no tent camping, but I'm sure if the shelter is really full, they probably have a little bit of tent camping if someone can't walk out. But it looks like a very large shelter. I hate when people leave the trash.
Yeah. Trash and sock.
Alright. Well. Okay. Are we going to go ahead and head down and just eat our trail snacks in our pocket on the trail, or?
Yeah.
We have
I got was just beef jerky.
the beef. Yeah, I got some Slim Jims and some crackers. I didn't know if you wanted to stop at the shelter and actually have lunch or not. Beef jerky. So, all right. I told Reptile we'd be gone for several hours, and I don't guess he believed me. He wasn't going to bring any water or nothing. He brought no survival kits with him. So, he did bring some water. He's got a towel in one pocket, a bug net in one pocket, and his wallet in one pocket.
Car keys.
And the keys. Oh, there's a bear box. State park property, no tent camping. Okay. They're very concerned about tent camping.
Showers are available for $5 a person.
Oh, okay.
Tempting.
I think it is almost tempting. We did shower 2 days ago. 2 days ago. It's hilarious. It's amazing how, again, hygiene just goes out the window. What was I talking about? Oh, being prepared. So, he does have his 20 ounce of electrolytes. I have my 24 ounce bottle of electrolytes. We each have pocket snacks. He has his puffy, has his warm layer. I have my rain jacket.
Yeah, I got a hoodie jacket.
And he found the hoodie on trail. But, and we got a pocket knife, and so we didn't just leave the car with nothing, even though we're not carrying packs today. Because even just a 3 or 4 mile trek, though we are in a state park and there are park rangers, we've seen several of them this morning, you never know. You might need to self-rescue or
Catch more snakes.
prepare something. I saw the snake before he did. I don't know if you heard Reptile, but he said, I can catch more snakes. But I was in front. So, alright. We're going to find the road, because we have a road walk back into the parking lot area. And I figured a mile road walk would be a lot more simple than the backtracking up a couple 100 feet of elevation on the AT for, 2 miles. I think we've gone about 2 miles. I'll have to figure it out when we get to the car. And I could look and see. But I know from the junction to the shelter was 1.4. And we had walked several in there. Please, can you open the gate? We walked several hundreds of thousands of feet or whatever I'm trying to say. We'd walked at least half a mile before. And we shut the gate before we got to that junction. So anyway, I'm really hoping that we get to the 220 mile marker today, but I don't know if we will or not. Depends on how much driving we have between the trailheads that we want to go to. And it's just been real leisurely. But look at what we're coming upon. Ooh, I'm so glad I didn't turn this off. I was like, I'm going to turn this off. I don't have anything to talk about. Nope. Beautiful. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll take some videos of all the water. Okay, let me navigate a little closer and I'll get up on the bridge. We're now back to the National Forest. Oh, looky there. Very nice. Ooh, on a hot day, can you imagine? That rolling. Right under the bridge. Okay. Oh. Beautiful. That is nice. It just drops in elevation from this creek up here and goes down into a little rapid. How nice is that? Beautiful. So pretty. Okay. Well, we're gonna find our way out of here. Reptile's rinsing off his hands from the snake. That is really pretty. Back to the car on day 44. I'm eating a hiker Pop-Tart, and I couldn't figure out why I was so sore and tired and why it took so long. We could not find the Grayson Highlands trail that would turn us into a loop. It said it was supposed to be, ruby red trail markers. Never saw the trail name on the sign. Never saw the trail marker color. So we ended up just backtracking on the AT back to the AT Spur Trail and coming back to the parking lot. And I'm like, it was supposed to be 1.4. Like, how is this? No. Mary looked at it wrong. It was 2.5 out from the, where the Spur Trail meets the AT, and the AT to the shelter, in the water source. And that was 2.5. So we ended up backtracking after we walked around for about 45 minutes trying to find out which trail led to this trail that was going to make a loop. Needless to say, almost 5 hours later, we are back at the car. Reptile went to go use the restroom. But I'm like, man, my feet are sore, my back hurts, like without carrying a pack, like something is not right. And I'm like, there's no way that we could have walked just 3 miles. Like, it's taken too long. And no, we didn't. So we ended up walking, my best guess is about 6.3 miles in the Grayson Highlands, and not exactly what we were expecting to do at all, but on 18 miles, the only thing that we actually accomplished with that was the 2.5 from where the Spur Trail met the AT to the shelter and the water source that I filmed with the running water under the bridge. But that's 2.5 more miles added to our AT mileage. It got pretty warm today, and we still have a lot to driving to do. I'm trying to think, it's probably like 2:30ish, almost 3 o'clock, I believe. And we were not prepared to be out there for that long, so Pop-Tart it is to fill my belly right now until we figure out where we're going. Where we're going for the night. And yeah, we're playing it by ear. Isn't it great that you can just jump in the car and use our wheels instead of our feet? We saw three or four thru hikers in the Grayson Highlands area today, and some trail maintainers. And I really wanted to tell those trail maintainers, can you, like, I know if you're just working on the AT, I get it, but if you're part of the Grayson Highlands State Park, mark your trails. There was a sign for a trail that's not even in the park, and I guess it's like a popular trail. It's called the Scales Trail. I've never heard of it. It wasn't on the park map. It wasn't on my AT map. So I don't know. But my face looks awful red. Needless to say, we both nursed our 20-something ounces of water that we brought with us and ate all of our snacks. So, but I was surprised that the car was not burning up. I was like, my cheese is going to be melted. The water is going to be screaming hot. Because we did filter water this morning before we left the trailhead. And nope, the car is actually pretty decent. So that's good. We have an absolute mess in here. We decided not to put our sleep stuff away because we'll probably be sleeping in the car again tonight. But I'm going to get the car turned on so I can charge my phone. And we got to find some service because there is no signal. And figure out where a good trailhead is going to be so we can move on up the trail tonight. Alright, talk to you guys later. So we are hiking back to the farm again. We are outside Atkins. Is it Atkins? I should know this stuff before I start talking, right? But we're outside Marion, Virginia. I think the town's called Atkins, and
we're just off the AT by the 1890 settler settlement.
Yes. So the AT comes through, and there's some Forest Service property that they have an 1890 settlement on. It's also where the schoolhouse is. It's a old 1894 schoolhouse, and there's a little visitor center and a museum. And if you walk this, I don't know, 10th of a mile back on this gravel road, you get to the old farmhouse settlement that they put together. And it's pretty cool. It's supposedly haunted. We were here earlier when the sun was still shining over the house, but Reptile wanted to come back to it while it was getting to be dusk. And now that it's dusky, we're headed back here. So we made our way on to Marion, Virginia after we left Grayson Highlands. And we haven't hiked any more on the AT today, but we, very nice spot. If you're on the trail and you need a place to recharge, very hiker friendly. They have a bunch of receptacles to charge your electronics. They have free flushable toilet bathrooms with running water. They have a water hose you can fill up your water bottles from. And there's a huge covered pavilion. The signs say AT hikers can camp for 2 nights. And there's no charge, everything's free. And then in the schoolhouse is Trail Magic that a local church provides. And it's locked right now. It's open from 8 to 5. And then they lock the schoolhouse. So if you get here in the evenings, you may not have an option to get it, but we'll search that tomorrow. Very, very cool. But you can kind of see the structures coming into view. I think we're going to spend the night here, we've been looking out, finding good trailheads that have parking that is free and that has running water and toilets. That's always great. So, but we will have to stop in the next day or two to take a shower and try to wash our clothes again before we get on trail at Harper's Ferry. But tomorrow, still not planned. I was trying to look at the Shenandoah National Park. I don't know what we're gonna do. It's a lot of mileage. So it's like, where do you put it in at? How do you walk a little bit? Because leaving your car at one spot, you either have to try to hitch a ride back to your car, or you're walking backwards like we did today when we backtracked at Grayson Highlands. So we will see how that goes. Reptile's doing good with his... Good-ish, he said, with his ankles. He actually took his ankle brace off today because we didn't think we would be trekking the 6-ish plus-ish miles in Grayson Highlands. Because Mosey looked at the map wrong and thought it was 1.4. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why I was so tired. Why my feet hurt so bad. I mean, it was really, really rocky, but yeah. We did not do 3 miles. We did double that. But there's the back side of the farmhouse. Alright. Didn't feel any weird vibes or anything when we came up in the sun. But let's see now that it's gotten darker. It's actually almost 8 o'clock. It's just such a pretty evening with the clear sky that we've got a lot of sun left. Alright.
You can actually look now without being blinded by the sun.
That's true. So this is a property that, my understanding by reading the signs, is the house was here. But I feel like they've added the outbuildings. During the day, if you're here before 5 o'clock, you can actually go in the house. But we didn't. It was there. We didn't get here in time. But that is the granary. And it looks like they're putting in a new paver patio. They also have, look at Reptile. He's looking in, trying to see what he can see. But they have a root cellar over here dug in, which is what they would normally do. And all these buildings have a sign on them that kind of explains how this was done. If you're like me and you had grandparents that had a cellar and had an outhouse and all that good stuff. But this is, there we go. This is the 1890s farmhouse. The sign on the porch said it started as a 1.5 story house, and then they added a kitchen, and then as they upgraded the kitchen, they turned the kitchen and the old kitchen into a parlor, and they ended up making it a full 2-story house. When we were here earlier, I could not film hardly anything, nor could I take pictures because the sun was so glaring. But we have, there's a big barn back there. Reptile walked back there. He said that it's got a tractor hooked up to what looks to be like a wagon, maybe for hay rides. We have that is the chicken coop or the hen house for, you know, obviously for the chickens and the eggs. Over here, part of this is mechanic shed, blacksmith shed. This here, they're just storage. We had a storage building that was used to store different grains and things before it went to the mill. That is what they call the pump house. I'm assuming they have the pump in there to get water. And again, if you had grandparents like me, they had a pump in their backyard. Little red pump. You pumped the handle and water came up. Except no water came up. It was all just wasp. Had a red wasp nest in it. We were always told not to play with it because we didn't want to get stung. And then this is what they call the wash house. And if you look in, well, I can't really look inside because it's too dark, but it has the old wash tub in it with the washboard. And then the back side of the house where they had built onto the kitchen at one point. And then, I don't know what's going on with the garden area back here. It's like they really tilled it up and then just left it. And then over there is the outhouse. Which the school actually had the outhouse to it as well. You can see they have oil lamps in all the windows. There's like a Victrola music player in the parlor window. But very interesting. We're actually we're here a couple days too early because this weekend is their big kickoff to the season party. But very cool. Very cool place. And Reptiles found himself on the swing, so we're going to join him on the swing for a minute and then head back to the car and have a good night, everyone.